happens when you engage the pelvic floor. What does that mean? So it's a sling of muscle running from the pubic bone to the tailbone. Of course, it's more complicated than that. It's actually a whole group of muscles, some of which run in other directions. But let's just simplify it. So when you contract the pelvic floor, it lifts upward and it supports the pelvic organs. But it also helps support the lumbar spine, or the lower part of the spine, along with the deep abdominal muscles, the muscle that pulls the navel back to the spine, and the diaphragm and some of the deep spinal muscles, all combine to make this core muscle group that supports and stabilizes your posture and your spine. So obviously it has these physical benefits, but what does it do to your consciousness, and why do you want to do it during breath retention or perhaps during meditation? And energetically, there are actually points and channels, energy channels, that start in the pelvic floor. Maybe you know about the nadis, and I'm showing you here the 3 central channels of Chinese medicine, but they're basically the same: the sun channel, the moon channel, and the central channel. And in Chinese medicine, there are points in the pelvic floor, right next to the coccyx or tailbone, and then right in the center of the pelvic floor, which is called the perineum, such as between the vagina and the anus, or testicles and anus. So there's a point there and there are other layers of muscle here that you can actually subtly master and be able to contract different parts of the pelvic floor. But anyway, if you just contract the whole thing and also pull the navel back to the spine and control your breath, then you've done something really powerful to your posture. And simultaneously, if you actually practice that, you'll notice that you have a different state of mind. At the very least, it gives you a more positive and alert and aware state of mind. Just try it. Sit in your meditation, or just sit in a chair and close your eyes and lift the pelvic floor, contract the navel, and see what happens if you concentrate in between your eyebrows. It's really noticeable what shifts when you do that. You can call it state of mind, consciousness, awareness. So the yogis and the Chinese medicine yogis also knew about those practices, and they understood the energy anatomy of it. If we look at the physical anatomy of the pelvic floor just for a second, we see again that some of this group of pelvic floor muscles, well, this one is called the levator ani, is actually a group of 3 muscles that go around the urethra, the vagina, or the sexual organs, and the anus. So they help control those openings. And then intertwined with that are some other muscles, and even some hip muscles, like your obturator internus. This is a hip rotator, deep hip rotator, and piriformis forms part of this. So they're all mixed in together. And in fact, if you have problems in the pelvic floor, maybe too much tension in your pelvic floor, which is really common from anxiety or emotions, or maybe you don't have enough tension in the pelvic floor and you have weakness there, or you can have both, weakness and tension. Too tight, you can get pelvic pain and dysfunction, sexual pain, sexual dysfunction. Too weak, you can get problems in the pelvic organs, even prolapse of those organs, or you can have the loss of that stability, and you can tend to get back injuries or other problems with your core strength. Along with that, you may see problems in the hip rotation or hip pain. The adductor muscles can get tight and work too hard. The arches of the feet are often going to manifest whatever's happening in the pelvic floor. Problems in the diaphragm are 100% related to issues in the pelvic floor, and even up into the tongue. And tension in the throat can be related to tension in the pelvic floor. So it's a really important part of the body to understand for your health, for the health of your back, for the health of your pelvic organs, but also for your consciousness and awareness. So check it out next time you're meditating, or look at some pictures of the pelvic floor.